Tiffany Fontenot here. What is reverse speech? God made our brain in two hemispheres, and He made our consciousness in two different directions. The forward direction is the free will direction where we can lie or tell the truth. But in reverse, that is an involuntary system, and we cannot lie from that side of our consciousness.
Stand up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did my inaugural address, to single out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy. And I'm not saying this because I'm at a black HBCU. I say it wherever I go. I'm not saying this because I'm
By almost every economic measure, America's better off than when I came here at the beginning of my presidency. By almost every economic measure, America's better off than when I came here.
Just notice that white line, everybody.
So I'll tell a story about when we were at the Targeted Justice rally to try and inform people what was going on. And so my friend Midge she's the one who started Targeted Justice. And so we were all on various corners and doing grouped in various ways. And so some of us were handing out materials to and letters and speaking to Congress, and others of us were holding signs and posters and having flyers. And so one of the things that I thought I could do, because I've been left disabled by these weapons, and they disabled my body before I even knew what this was. Anyway, so I thought, well, we need to get people's attention, and then maybe they'll come and get a flyer and look at our signs and stuff. So I was like, well, I'll holler out stuff so that they can look over here. And so I was like, well, I was like, well, in a nutshell, what's happening that I can just holler out so they can decide if they want to come over and get more information or not. And so what I decided to yell out was, American civilians are being tortured and murdered for money. And so I was, I'd holler that out. I tried to make sure, like, I scanned the streets, and if I saw kids, I just would stay quiet for a while, but it was mostly adults, and, it was during business hours. And so I saw, way down the street, I saw a military guy, it looked like he was from the Navy, and he was walking with his back to me, but it was about time for me to holler it out again. So I thought, well, it ought to be interesting to see his reaction, because I knew he knew exactly what this was. So, and I belted it out. And as soon as I finished saying it, he stopped for a second and like he made a motion as if he were almost ducking, like I had just hit him physically. He knew exactly what it was, and I think that he was shocked that I was screaming it, yelling it out on the streets of Washington, D.C. Our military, the traitors in our military, never planned for this to get out. And they have been throwing and intimidating people who are trying to get this information out. They've been throwing the same people they're torturing literally to death for money and profit, and for the AI arms race, which literally will enslave you and yours. And they think they're going to get a pass for it, these traitors. They ultimately won't. They think they will. Anyway, so I just found that interesting. He physically paused in his cadence that he was walking and like ducked his head a little bit, as if I had physically hit him. So I felt like, yep, he knows. And it was almost like he was being haunted for his sins. Somebody showed up and is screaming it in the streets of Washington, D.C. when it's not supposed to be uttered aloud. And they're throwing the same people that they're torturing. Some TIs end up getting thrown in the loony bin if they talk about it. See, I've been finding all kinds of stuff out about what's been going on around here. I had to have a steep learning curve on this, and reverse speech has served me well, as the truth would serve anybody, as a starting point to fixing whatever it is that's wrong. You have to know what's actually going on. So anyway, I found that very interesting. It was as if his past had caught up with him, right then and there. Anyway, would have been interesting to know who that guy was. I don't know who he was, because he had his back to me, but he was some sort of officer in the Navy, and the Navy is very complicit in this, and I'm finding it's just unbelievable. This NWO group, they're just going around infiltrating, and they just give everybody a bad name that they infiltrate. So these are going to be your corrupt Stasi network people in EMTs, the medical mafia in the medical field, in the military, there. In the Navy SEALs in particular, I've found military intelligence mass shooting operations being orchestrated by Navy SEALs. more than anything else, I have found the Navy and Navy SEAL involvement. And so now I've found so much stuff that, of course, it's coming up in the Air Force and the Army too, but particularly the Navy. And so when anybody says to me that someone's a Navy SEAL, I mean, they just automatically get red flags, and I hate that that happens. I hate that it's like that. You know? I really dislike that. But I don't know what to do about it, and I just suggest that these, you know, they're giving you a bad name. Clean out your ranks. All of these people have to G-O. Light has to be thrown on all of this. It's the best disinfectant. Okay. Love y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.
I just see the light when everything's right and waiting for it to clear. Thankful I'm alive, but terrified of dying. But hey, I'm still here. In the bed, sometimes I like it when I lose control. There's nothing in it that's so beautiful.